Everybody, you're very welcome along to my player ratings video here after the Reds go to Elland Road and beat Leeds United by 3-0. Perfect performance from the boys, clean sheet. The only marring of the day was, of course, the injury to Harvey Elliott, which I'll touch on in a couple of moments. As with the watch along and the post-match shows, ladies and gentlemen, today has been brought to you with thanks to our friends at Surfshark. Now, next weekend, the Reds are playing at 3 p.m. We know you can't watch that in the UK. How do you help get yourself around these type of things? Well, Surfshark is exactly the type of product you need. Surfshark is basically an app or web browser that allows you to browse the internet anonymously and unlock the world's largest Netflix libraries like the USA and Japan or other online streaming services. It also keeps you entirely anonymous and secure from hackers, particularly when you're out and about on public Wi-Fi. Surfshark secures your data with industry-leading measures in using uncrackable encryption and the most secure VPN protocols. It's really easy to install and all your devices can be used with a single subscription. Right now, you can get 83% off and 3 months entirely free by using our link in the description below or the code Anfield Agenda at checkout, and it only works out about €1.50 a month or so with our discount. So yeah, use the link below or the code Anfield Agenda. Right, look, ladies and gentlemen, let's go through the Reds starting 11 and subs and see how we feel about it. You guys, of course, get the chance to vote, and we're going to start off with the goalkeeper, Alisson. Connor has the vote running now. You guys have a chance there to have your say. For me, everything that he was asked to do, he did well. He made a couple of good saves, particularly in the first half. I think it might have been Rodrigo that drifted inside and tested him. He stood tall, made the save, and a couple of decent shot stops as well from Bamford with that cheeky chip of his that had Alisson backpedaling. So, didn't have too much to do, but what he did have to do, he did really well. So, I'm going to give him a 7. And looking at the results in the chat, you guys agree with me. It's a 7 or an 8 from you guys. It's a solid 7 for me, for Alisson. And then we move on, of course, to our first outfield player, which is Trent Alexander-Arnold. I thought it was a masterclass again today from Trent. I thought him and Robbo looked back to their brilliant best. Everything we're involved in that right-hand side goes through Trent and Mohamed Salah. Didn't put a foot wrong defensively or really in attack today. I'm very proud of Trent's performance, so I'm going to put him in a 7.5 to 8 in that kind of ballpark. Let's see how you guys vote in the chat. It is completed. You guys again have agreed it's a 7 or an 8 for Trent, and you're still voting away on Trent. I'm going to give him a 7.5, 7.5 from me. The vote is now in. You guys have gone for the same. So you guys have voted with a 7 or an 8. I voted a 7 or an 8. Great minds think alike, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on to Joel Matip now. Joel Matip had an excellent game today. We were just speaking off air about how brilliant he is at just making those line-breaking runs forward. But not only that, he has the eye and the ability to pick out a pass as he wishes. Both our centre-backs were phenomenal again today, but Matip going forward, the range of passing that he has, the reading of the game that he has, he's just top-notch. He just goes under the radar and gets the job done. Solid 8 for me for Joel Matip today. I thought he was brilliant. Involved in a lot of our good stuff as well. As I said, his breaking line runs and being able to pick out passes are something you don't expect from a lot of centre-backs. So, solid 8 for me for Joel Matip. You guys still having your chance to vote away now in the chat. So, we've got a mixture of 8, 7s and a half. Let's see what the final vote comes up with. Right, so Joel Matip, let's see what's he got. Joel Matip has got, again, very close. It was nearly a 9 to 10, but 50% of the vote from you guys goes for Joel Matip. So we'll give Joel Matip an 8 on that one, seeing as he was very high up in the vote. Moving on to his centre-back partner, the big, the bold, the beautiful Virgil van Dijk. Again, imperious today. Everything that was asked of him, he did. And I think along with Joel Matip, another one who can break lines, another one who can step forward. Very creative today from set pieces, especially Virg. If you looked for the first goal, it was a brilliant, the first corner attempt. It was a brilliant decoy run by Matip that found Virg in loads of space then. He just couldn't direct his header. But he did nod it down, I believe, to Thiago for the assist of the assist for Fabinho's goal. So I'm going to give Virg a solid 8 today as well, because I thought he handled everything Leeds had to throw at him, as did Matip. So yeah, for me, I'm going to give him an 8, just as I gave Joel Matip an 8. And in the chat, again, you guys mixing it up between high 7s and mid 8s. But let's see what the final vote comes in at when you cast it. I love this new addition to the show, by the way. I love the fact that we get to do this. Right. A 7 to 8 for 66% of you guys voted to give Van Dijk a 7 or an 8. So again, we're on the same wavelength. I love it. Moving on now to Andy Robertson, somebody who, look, I think we were all a little bit critical of Robbo in the performance against Chelsea. It wasn't the usual brilliant barnstorming forward attacking performance from Trent, but today, or from Robbo, excuse me, today he was back to his best. Always available in that left hand side. The amount of balls that were spread across from right to left that's seen Andy Robertson in acres of space, just very intelligent. Again, a lovely little ball inside, cushion ball that found Sadio Mane at one point. Another ball back inside that was dummied by, I think if my memory serves me correct, it was dummied by Jota that left it for Henderson, who had a crack. Just intelligent work again from Andy Robertson. I'm going to give Robbo 7.5. 7.5 for Andy Robertson. Did everything I think could have been asked of him today. And you guys agree. 7 to 8 in the chat at 65%. Again, I think very fair from you guys, and I like to think pretty fair from me. So 7.5 for Robbo. We move on to Fabinho now. And look, I think this is where we start cranking it up a little bit. I thought Fabinho, imperious, everything that you want from him. Not only was he breaking up play, not only was he intercepting Leeds attacks really well, he controlled the midfield, allowed Thiago and the forward thinking players to do what they did best, and occasionally got forward. Hell, he got into the box and got himself a goal. Second stab at it albeit, but he did get himself a goal today, and that goal for me pushes him up a little bracket. I'm going to give him an 8.5 out of 10. He's not quite my man of the match, but I thought he was excellent, and I don't think he really put a foot wrong today. So I'm going to go 8.5. I'll hand it over to you guys now and see what you guys come up with. A load of 9s in the chat today. He was brilliant. He was brilliant. So if it comes back higher than an 8, it's a 9 to 10. I love it. You guys are loving a bit of Fabinho today. So 86% of you guys voted Fabinho in a 9 to 10. I was 8.5, a little bit below, but again, I think we're all in a similar wavelength. This young man, Harvey Elliott, he's getting a 10. I don't care. He's getting a 10. He's getting a 10 for everything. He's getting a 10 for his performance. He's getting a 10 for the way he handled the adversity. He's getting a 10 for the way that he showed character, and he showed courage, and he showed class by applauding those Leeds fans that were applauding him as he was taken off the pitch. Now, what we do know about Harvey Elliott is, as per James Pearce of The Athletic, it looks like it's a dislocated left ankle, and the recovery time looks to be, if there's no ligament damage, of course, which we have to wait for, maybe 8 to 12 weeks, somewhere in that range. And again, this is just ballpark figures, but look it, the man's getting a fucking 10 from me because of everything he dealt with today. His performance was exceptional, but he gets a 10 just for being so positive and for inspiring so many people today. So Harvey, you get a 10, my lad, and you deserve it, and let's hope that you come back better and stronger. And yeah, you guys agree with me in the chat. 66% up there giving Harvey Elliott the highest possible tally of between 9 and 10. Well played, folks. Now for this gentleman, Thiago Alcantara, somebody who has divided opinion, somebody who sometimes we've seen and he's kind of flattered to deceive, but that wasn't the Thiago we've seen today. Today we've seen the brilliant best of Thiago Alcantara, the Thiago that's able to skip away from challenges, pass the ball freely, little clever passes in and around the corner. He was always finding Elliott in that first half. Every time Elliott dropped into a pocket of space, Thiago was there. I thought he was the maestro today in midfield. He did help Liverpool tick, and for that reason I'm going to give him a very, very well-deserved 8 for me for Thiago. You might think that's a bit critical. I think he could have done a little bit more maybe, but still very, very good performance from Thiago today, and a lot more of that will be very much appreciated going forward with a busy season ahead. And look, I think you guys agree with me in the chat. 58% of you have gone for a 7 to 8 for Thiago. So again, I love it. We're on the same wavelength, people. Keep it coming. Next gentleman we're going to have a talk about is this beautiful specimen here, Mohamed Salah. Got himself a goal today, but was involved in absolutely everything good that we did going forward. His ball into Sadio Mane after that brilliant diversionary run from Diogo Jota to drag the defence off to one side was inch perfect. He was always involved in play. Got himself an early goal as well with a good composed finish after a great ball in from Trent, and he was always a thorn in Leeds side. This is, I think, the first time I've ever even gotten up to give somebody a 9 I'm going to give Salah a 9 today because I don't think he could have done anything more. And it's very rare I'll ever give somebody higher than a 9. But Mohamed Salah was my man of the match today. And if he doesn't deserve a 9, I don't know who does, because he was simply sensational. So for me, Mo gets a 9 out of 10 and he's my Anfield Agenda man of the match. Of course, I'd love to know what you guys think. And it was his 100th goal as well. So he just joined that elite, illustrious, I think he's the 4th quickest to get to 100 goals as well. So welcome to the 100 Club, Mo. And here's to many more years, hopefully, of Mohamed Salah at the club. Look at you guys, absolutely agree. 90% of you guys today had Mohamed Salah in that 9 to 10 category. So well played to the voters as well. Next we move on to Sadio Mane. It's a difficult one, this, isn't it? Because he got himself a goal when he didn't have time to think. Just good, impulsive forward play. Dropped his left shoulder, swung his boot with it, and it was past Meslier before he knew what was going on. But we can't forget about the misses. Yes, they always say to you, you've got to be in the right place to make and miss these opportunities. But it was getting to a point today where I did feel Sadio was a little bit selfish at times, and he could have probably looked for his teammates on a few occasions. So with that in mind, I think the goal probably saved him in my graces. I am going to give him a 6.5. I know it might seem critical, but he should have had 3 or 4 today, and he missed some very, very good opportunities, not least the one where he almost had an open net. Yes, it was a bit behind him, but you'd still expect him to steer it goalwards, and I think there's more to come from Sadio, so I'm giving him a 6.5. We'll wait and see what you guys vote for, but look, there will be better days ahead for Sadio Mane. You guys have gone one higher than me. You've gone from a 7 to 8, so you're obviously in a good mood today, and I like that. I like that you're supporting our boy. So 7 to 8, 58% of you guys in the chat voted for Sadio Mane to get a score of between 7 and 8. Now on to this gentleman, Diogo Jota. Obviously great form for Portugal in the international break as well. He carried that into today. His cleverness in and around the final third is brilliant. The step over for Jordan Henderson that allowed Hendo to have a crack. The brilliant run, as I spoke about earlier on, to drag the defenders away with them, creating that space for Mohamed Salah to be able to play that outside of the foot pass through to Sadio Mane, and lots of more great stuff as well. He is a sensational footballer. He is such a clever footballer, and I can't speak highly enough of this guy. I'm so happy that we got him in from Wolves, and he just keeps going from strength to strength. So for me, Diogo Jota gets a solid 8 from me today. I thought he was I thought we were all brilliant. Every single one of those lads today were brilliant, but I just love the match intelligence, the awareness of where he is on the pitch, the awareness of who's around him. So for me, Diogo Jota gets a solid 8. And again, you guys in the chat with a good 69% have voted for Diogo Jota to get a score of 7 to 8. Now we move on to the substitutes, folks. And the first one was, of course, El Capitan Jordan Henderson. It's difficult. It's always difficult to grade a substitute performance, isn't it? It was probably the substitution that would have been coming. Unfortunately, Elliott picked up that dislocated ankle, but Hendo was on the sidelines ready to come on anyway. And look, if you are 2 or 3-0 up in a game and you want to help see it out, and you want to keep that professionalism and energy in midfield, no better boy to bring off the bench than Jordan Henderson. And it's a difficult one to grade when you bring him on, so I'll stick with a 7 because I can't really remember too much right, too much wrong. It was just thoroughly professional, and the game became a little bit disjointed for quite a while after the Elliott injury, because the Liverpool players obviously were trying to regather and regroup themselves, and that's where Hendo's leadership out there on the pitch really came through, because him and Virgil van Dijk were helping to just re-galvanise the lads and let them know they still had a job to do out there. So you guys have gone for a 7 to 8 with 54% in the chat. I went for a 7 as well, so again, we're not a million miles apart here. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, ladies and gents. Now, we know that Elliott will be out for a little while, so a place may be available in the midfield. A place may be available in Kloppo's thinking. Will it be Naby Keita? Will it be Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Curtis Jones or Jordan Henderson? It's up to them to convince the manager. And you know what? When he came on, he did a few good things. I liked his direct running. I always like that he runs at players and makes them think about it. There was a time where maybe he could have laid it off to Salah. He backed himself and he went for the byline. But, coming off the bench into a game cold like that, I thought he did quite well when he came on. So for me, Again, I'm going to go for a 6.5 because I don't think he deserves anything above a 7. So I'm going to go for a 6.5 for me. And yeah, you guys are with me. Oh, you're lower than me. You think I've been too generous. You guys have gone for a 5 to 6 for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain at 46%. So yeah, a little bit below me. I was a 6.5, but of course, you know, this is why we have a democracy. This is what the votes are in place for. And the last one, ladies and gentlemen, was this young man here, Naby Keita. I think he's probably in pole position to take that spot vacated by Harvey Elliott because of that injury. And he did start the season very well. Obviously, what happened when he was away on international duty was very difficult to deal with, and probably led to Jurgen Klopp's thinking today to maybe start him on the bench because it was a very disrupted time, to say the least, for Naby Keita. But he looked like he had signs of brightness and it showed sparks of positivity when he came on. If we are looking for somebody to link up on that left-hand side, then I think he makes far more sense than the likes of Henderson, because he's more naturally leaning to that side. He can link up with Sadio Mane a little bit better and Robertson. So I would expect him to be in the box to take that position, maybe for the AC Milan game coming up on Wednesday. So with that in mind, look, a 7, because there's not really much else we could say about him. He came on and he did what he had to do, and the game was won at that point. And yeah, so I'm going to give him a 7, but I do think we might see him start against AC Milan. I don't know if Thiago will start. It'll be interesting to see if Klopp goes with Fabinho, Henderson, Keita, or Fabinho, Thiago, Keita, or Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago. But it will be interesting to see the manager's decision. You guys been a bit harsh, I think, with a 5 to 6 for Naby Keita there. Just 44%, just ahead of a 7 to 8. So yeah, that makes up all the players today, ladies and gentlemen. We've gone through them all. That is the Anfield Agenda player ratings video. I've given my man of the match to Mohamed Salah, but of course today our thoughts are with Harvey Elliott, and we wish him a speedy recovery. As always, thank you to all of you guys for tuning in and watching. We've got lots of great content coming up in the week ahead. Jack will be live tomorrow with a late night agenda. I'll be recording a preview ahead of the AC Milan game, trying to figure out the manager's starting 11 and my score predictions. I'll be back on Wednesday as well for that watch along against AC Milan in the Champions League. Our coverage will start at 7:30 here on Anfield Agenda with the full post-match game as well. I'll be here, Jack will be here with a post-match show, then I'll do another player ratings as well. Champions League are back, ladies and gentlemen. They are back with a bang, and what a game to kick it off. As I said, AC Milan on Wednesday. Can't wait for it. I'm absolutely buzzing. Thank you for everything, you guys. Really appreciate your support. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Drop a like on the video. Don't forget, next weekend as well, you're looking to watch the game, Surfshark's got you covered. Use our link below or the code Anfield Agenda at checkout to get yourself 83% off and 3 months absolutely free. Trust me, check out Surfshark. You will thank me later, because it will give you an option for those games that aren't available, or those Netflix libraries in the US or Japan that you can't access normally. Surfshark's got you covered. Look, ladies and gentlemen, much love to you all. Have a cracking weekend. Thank you to everyone for the hard work, all the moderators, Connor, you guys in the chat. Most importantly to the boys for giving us a result today. We wish Harvey Elliott a speedy recovery. I will see you guys soon.